There's something very familiar about all this. Okay guys, time to suffer through the crap once again as I count down the top 15 worst films of the year in my old room. Yeah, I came home for the holidays, so if you've been watching me for a while, you should know that this location was where I used to shoot my videos. Throwback. Now keep in mind, I didn't see every single film that came out this year, so these are just the top 15 worst films that I saw. So, let's get to talking about them so I can reward myself with my favorite films of the year. These are the top 15 worst films of 2015. What happens when you make a sequel to one of my favorite comedies with none of the heart or humor that made it interesting? You have Hot Tub Time Machine 2. I laughed maybe 3 times in this entire movie, and I wanted my money back the second it was over. It had a couple interesting ideas, which is why it's not higher on this list, but honestly, it had no idea how to execute them, and as a result, it just butchered all the heart left from the first movie. It's no wonder John Cusack didn't even bother to return. Hot Tub Time Machine is one of the funniest movies of the last decade. Hot Tub Time Machine 2 is one of its biggest disappointments. This is another movie that I was really looking forward to. Listen, despite my problems with it, especially the completely unlikable main character, fuckwickus, I did enjoy District 9. And I loved Neil Blomkamp's second film, Elysium, so I was really pumped for this film, and I hated it. Really, really hated it. Instead of the thought-provoking stuff that we were promised in the trailers, Chappie is instead being raised by 3 of the most unlikable asshats I have ever seen in a feature film. Dev Patel, who's scattered throughout the trailers, is kind of an interesting character, but he's barely in the movie, usually only showing up at the plot's convenience. Sigourney Weaver is completely wasted here. Her character is beyond useless. Hugh Jackman is wasted as the villain of the picture, and the only reason he is a villain is because Dev Patel is smarter than he is. There is action in the film, but it has no emotional weight because I don't care about any of these damn characters, except for Chappie. The idea of basically a child being raised in a horrible, horrible environment is kind of intriguing. But it isn't executed well because when I say that these characters have no redeeming qualities, I fucking mean it. Yeah, Sharlto Copley is good as Chappie, Dev Patel is cool, but when he's actually on screen. But other than that, this movie is completely useless. I know many people like this movie, and if you did, good for you. I'll never understand why, but good for you. I just thought it was bullshit. Did Poltergeist need a remake? Of course not, which is why they did it anyway. This is bar none one of the laziest remakes ever produced. They do nothing different with this concept, and the stuff that they repeat feels like it's on fucking autopilot. It's incredibly predictable and unscary, featuring a slew of good actors who deserve much better for their talents. There is nothing worth seeing this damn remake for. Last year, for Halloween, I did a list of the worst horror remakes. This movie made me wish I'd waited a little longer. Yet another movie I was looking forward to this year that pissed me off to no end. Spectre, you got lucky. Look, I understand many people enjoyed this. I hated it. It made me angry. It actually makes me angrier the more I think about it. For a series that was progressively getting better and better, for it to go out on such a low, uneventful note is nothing short of insulting. Oh, well, Jennifer Lawrence is good. Guess what, people? Jennifer Lawrence is good in anything! This is one of the most boring, tacked-on, lazy, underwhelming films I have ever seen. And the fact that it's the finale to a series pisses me off even more. It's an unfocused, unforgivable mess from start to finish, and I don't plan on ever watching it again. Did Point Break need a remake? Of course not, which is why they did it anyway. Are you starting to see a pattern here? The sad thing is, we already had a remake of Point Break. It was called The Fast and the Furious, and it's been very successful. Be honest, you all knew I was going there. The original Point Break wasn't a masterpiece by any means, but it was a damn fun movie with kick-ass stunts and characters who mattered. I cared about the characters in that film. It's incredibly memorable. This is a remake that didn't even try. They just made some generic X-Games sports film and slapped the title Point Break onto it to make a quick buck. I don't know about any of you, but I'm starting to see a pattern with that too. Does anyone remember this movie? Adam J. remembers. Unfortunately. This was a mystery film, so convoluted that you are forced to suspend your disbelief from the ceiling by its toenails at every turn. The characters aren't likable, the story is beyond ridiculous, and it manages to make a mystery about sex, murder, and infidelity entirely boring. This film came out in January. Gotta say, it shows. I kind of like Joe Wright. The director gave us Hannah, a seriously overlooked action thriller that needs more attention. With Pan, please avert your attention elsewhere, because this movie simply doesn't care. It doesn't care. At all. It's boring, it's lifeless, it makes no sense, it never even tries to make sense. When Peter first gets to Neverland in this film, he's taken to a coal mine where all these kids are singing Nirvana's Smells Like Teen Spirit. Oh, and did I mention that this movie took place during World War II? You starting to see the problem here? The villain, Blackbeard, played by Hugh Jackman, his whole plan is to find the fairy kingdom so he can get the fairy dust because he's rapidly aging. Oh, good God. How do you age in Neverland? No! It's Neverland! You don't grow up there! They try to turn Captain Hook into a Han Solo type without even understanding what made Han Solo an interesting character. They try to force this whole romance between him and Tiger Lily, and meanwhile, the two actors have no chemistry, so none of it works. And Peter Pan, the boy who could fly, flies twice in this entire film. Twice. Oh, and if you're wondering about Tinkerbell, she does show up in the end for like a minute, I think, but in the most superfluous way you could possibly imagine. She might as well have not even been here. It's not magical, it's not fun, it's just an over-bloated, overlong CGI eyesore. What happens when you make a completely unnecessary sequel to one of my favorite horror films? You get Sinister 2. God, I'm seeing a lot of patterns on this list. I actually had some high hopes going into this film because it did have the same writers as the last one. My God, was I in for a surprise. And not in the good way. This movie is painful for me to talk about because of how much I love the first one. It was blatantly obvious within the first 20 minutes watching this that this new director did not give a shit. He clearly did not care. The only thing worth it in this entire film is Shannon Sossaman's performance. She's a wonderful actress who deserves more work, and I'm glad she's getting it, but she has no chance to shine in this. Nothing in this movie is scary or suspenseful like the first one was. Instead of natural scares, we get constant jump scares. Instead of the kids being silent and creepy, now they're talkative and annoying. Instead of seeing Bagul every once in a while, making his presence felt throughout the entire thing, making you feel uneasy about him without actually noticing him, which is what made him scary in the goddamn first place, now we're seeing him every 10 minutes. I'm not even kidding. Every 10 minutes of this movie, this thing is on screen, and it is laughably terrible. Seriously, everything scary that the first film set up, you wrecked it. Congratulations. Speaking of a crappy, completely unnecessary sequel that butchers a personal favorite of mine, we have Terminator Genisys. I don't care if they wanted to be called Genisys. They spelled it Genisys, so that's what I'm going to call it, and it's really stupid, and I want to make fun of them for that. This sequel doesn't make a lick of sense, has some of the worst acting in the entire franchise. Jai Courtney as Kyle Reese? Really? Fucking really? Jesus Christ, Pan had better casting. It retcons everything that made the first two films so good, and is filled with so many plot holes, I'm surprised none of the actors fell in one. Here's the thing that pisses me off the most about this movie. From the opening scene, before the opening credits are even done, this film makes it very clear it is completely ignoring Terminator 3 and Terminator Salvation. So, it's the true sequel to Terminator 2. So the only two movies it has left to retcon are the two masterpieces that everyone loves. Why? It's a spit in the face to the entire fan base, and I really want to know how much money they paid James Cameron to say that he liked it. Hate Salvation all you want, that had good acting, that had good action, and for the first time in the entire series, I would argue, actually did something different. I don't love that film, nor do I think it holds a candle to T1 or T2, but it's damn entertaining despite its flaws. Terminator Genisys just rehashes everything that we loved, horribly, I might add, while changing all of it to show that none of it really ever mattered. Hey, did you like those first two films? Remember how great they were? Well, fuck you! We're getting rid of both of those timelines. Here's your new franchise. Doesn't matter, go pay to see it. Go fuck yourselves! This film was spitting in our faces all the way to the bank. Or in this film's case, because it tanked the fucking unemployment line, and thank God for it. Please, stop. Just stop making more Terminator movies. We don't need any more. You have hurt me time and time again with this shit. I'm done. Fuck Alan Taylor, fuck Jai Courtney, and fuck this goddamn train wreck of ass all the way to hell. Keep in mind, we're only at number 7, guys. This is gonna hurt. I've been hearing rumors that this is gonna be the last Paranormal Activity movie, and I sure as shit hope so. With this film, they tried to tie up most of the loose ends from the other films, and guess what? It didn't make them any better! This is a franchise that has not cared from the get-go. Oren Peli, please rot in hell. Is it the worst in the series? No, March 1 definitely still retains that title. But that doesn't make this any less of a shit movie. This has not been a scary franchise since day one. I have no idea how it thrived for so long. For the love of God, just make another Saw movie and bring that back every Halloween. I can't take this anymore. This was probably my most anticipated film of 2015. It looked like an original sci-fi film, and I wanted the Wachowskis to make a triumphant return to form with an original sci-fi film. And my God, did they fail. Nothing in this movie matters. The main character, Jupiter Jones, is a useless waif who has to be saved by Channing Tatum every 10 minutes of screen time. The dialogue between Mila Kunis and Channing Tatum is so wooden and so horribly written. I wanted to go home immediately and write a heartfelt apology to George Lucas, Hayden Christensen, and Natalie Portman. You're forgiven! What's the story of this film? It's about 3 intergalactic siblings having a pissing contest about who gets ownership of Earth. That is the whole story. It's boring, it's lazy, and it isn't worth any more of my time. Fant-4-Stick. I am not calling it Fantastic Four. Yes, there were actually 3 movies. I hated more than this. Oh, God help me. This film goes from bad to awful to completely unwatchable in the span of an hour and a half. I mean, Listen, was it hard to top this?
Look at me!
Yeah, I didn't think so either. Look, this was the 4th attempt to bring the Fantastic Four to life. And the last 3 attempts, for all their faults, and believe me, there were many, at least understood the characters and the fun-loving nature of the comics. They aren't great, groundbreaking films, but in my opinion, they're still very fun to watch because they had something that this film didn't have. Heart. This was nothing more than a cash grab attempt for 20th Century Fox to retain the rights to Fantastic Four, and it really showed. This movie had no vision and no understanding of the characters. The characters are supposed to be a family. They are Marvel's first family. And yet, this film doesn't give a shit about that because it's too busy trying to be the Dark Knight of the Fantastic Four movies, and it's failing miserably at it. I actually feel terrible for these young actors because they were never given a chance to shine. Potentially, they could be a good Fantastic Four. You wouldn't know that watching this! From Dr. Doom being an emo douchebag, to Reed Richards leaving Ben Grimm to rot, and Marvel's first family not even being a family, this is a superhero film that doesn't even deserve to be acknowledged. It is the single worst Marvel Comics adaptation I have ever seen, and believe me, that is saying a lot. For the next 3, I was flopping them back and forth because they're too awful for words. I finally decided on the order they would be in. And for the film at number 3, I have to apologize to 2 very good friends of mine. Robert Storms and his wife Autumn. To you both, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't listen. Why didn't I listen? Okay. Ignoring the fact that John M. Chu is a talentless hack of a director who couldn't make a good movie if he had Spielberg himself backing him, Gem and the Holograms is a boring mess. Characters? There are none! The story? Every single cliched story of this kind you've seen in the past with no effort put into it. The script? Terrible. The dialogue? Some of the worst ever put to screen. Just getting the poster and the trailer up here makes me feel like the devil. That fucking bad! The connection to the cartoon it's based on? Damn near non-existent. I didn't watch Gem and the Holograms, but I did do research upon seeing this film, and after doing that research, I can tell you the only thing this carried over was the names of the characters. Even the most desperate of moviegoers will struggle to find something worthwhile in this movie. How are the songs? All of them are terrible. Apparently, from what I've been told, they don't even sing any of the songs from the show. No one liked this film. No one saw it. But I did. I did! I didn't listen. I should have listened. Forgive me. Okay. Again. I had so much trouble placing these next 2 because no other movies drew me to my boiling point like these next 2 did. But I decided on the upcoming order for them because I had to pay to see one, and the other I saw online for free. So the one I saw online for free, that's at number 2. I guess that counts for something. Here we go. Why? Why does this movie exist? No, really, tell me, why the fuck does this movie exist? I cried sitting through this. This was made by Disney. This was aired on national television. This was sold in stores. Okay, I'm gonna try to make sense out of this thing. But I make no promises. So here we go. It takes place in a world where all the fairy tales from the Disney movies were all real and in the same continuity. Okay, ready for this? It takes place in present day. I know it takes place in present day because we have cars, weightlifting machines, emo haircuts, Wi-Fi. Why does a fairy tale land have Wi-Fi? Sorry. I'm losing my cool. So the son of Belle and Prince Adam decides that the children of the villains on the Island of the Lost, where all the Disney movie villains apparently are living, their children should be allowed to go to high school with them. I don't get it. It's stupid. Okay, so all these stories were real, as we established throughout this entire film. And yet, the evil queen isn't dead. Jafar's not dead. Maleficent is alive. She had a kid, apparently. Yes, it's in this. Movie makes my head hurt. Can someone explain to me who slept with Jafar to have a son? Who banged Maleficent and had a kid? I don't get it. I don't get it. People, that was just the first 10 minutes. It didn't get any better from there. The film tries to pass itself off like all the Disney films are in the same continuity and happen the exact way they did in the movies. And yet, they don't even bother to explain all the friggin' inconsistencies that show up from the first frame! None of it adds up, and making it take place in modern day doesn't help! Okay. You know, there's another product from this company still airing on television that did something very similar to this. It's called Once Upon a Time, and it's awesome! The stories take place in the same continuity there as well, but it changes a lot of things to have it make sense how they would. Like, for example, Rumpelstiltskin is also the Beast from Beauty and the Beast. Peter Pan is the bad guy, while Captain Hook was the hero. The evil queen earns redemption. There's really good storytelling in this show. In this film, none of that works, because no effort was put in to make it work! And please, don't you dare sit there and tell me, oh, well, it's a kid's film, you back off. Fuck you, okay? It's Disney! That's what's worse about it! This is a kid's film! This is a kid's film! This is a kid's film! Disney has built a dynasty off of making kids' films. And most of them are great and don't pander to them! This film is supposed to be all fairy tale and whimsical, and yet the opening shot, instead of the classic Disney storybook, is a Disney iPad! The story is told on an iPad! This film has kids talking modern day jive to pander to a younger audience, and it pisses me off. This is supposed to be a fairy tale based world. Why would you add modern day elements to it? You are ruining everything that made these stories so impactful over the years. Disney's Descendants may very well be the worst Disney film I have ever seen. You know what? Not very well might be. It is the worst Disney film I've ever seen. I mean that. I would rather watch Cars 2, Home on the Range, and Pocahontas on a fucking continuous loop than sit through this again. It's impossible to sit through this again. Oh, and did I mention it's also a musical? And not with a single damn song that's entertaining? Disney's descendants, may an army of demons sing thee to thy fiery hell, you scumbag of a film. Well, now we're at number 1. You haven't seen it on the list yet, so you probably already guessed what it is. I may not agree with the majority of the critics on The Force Awakens, but I'm pretty sure most, if not all of us, will agree on this. 50 Shades of Shit is the single worst film of 2015. This film pisses me off not just because it's boring, not just because of its horrendous acting, not just because of how it creates the most useless female character to ever grace the big screen, not just because the male lead is a creepy, overbearing douche that women love for reasons humanity will never be able to explain, not just because it promises raunchy sex scenes that barely gives us any because the two leads didn't like each other very much, but because of the hype. It sickens me to know that a Twilight fanfiction, a fanfiction of Twilight, was converted into a shitty romance novel and became the #1 best-selling paperback of all time. And just for that to be turned into this god-awful train wreck experience of a movie. You know what? No, I can't do that. I take it back. Train wreck is too kind a word. Remember when I said that The Loft made sex boring? Pfft, at least that was trying. Upon finding out that this was originally a Twilight fanfiction, I said to myself, yeah, I can definitely see it, because it's literally everything you hated about Twilight in a different wrapping paper. The leads are just as terrible, the writing just as lazy and uneventful, the direction on autopilot, the dialogue wooden and cringe-inducing. Nothing in this movie worked. Dakota Johnson is gorgeous, but I'm sorry, I don't like weak women. That's how she's portrayed here, and it's not just an insult to her, but to women in general. Women out there, please answer me this. How can you read this book or watch this movie without realizing how far it's setting back women? Please, tell me, how can you not see that? I don't get it! I put it to you. If Christian Grey, the lead character in this movie, lived in a trailer park and was poor, and did the shit that Christian Grey does in this movie, you wouldn't like that. You wouldn't think it was charming. You'd call the cops. Yet, a guy who's rich does it, and yeah, he's suddenly sex symbol #1. Please explain to me how that makes sense. Please, enlighten me. Guys, I never thought we'd see the start of a series as shitty as Twilight. Here it is. Here you fucking go. Here it is. 50 Shades of Shit, the story that started out as a crappier version of Twilight, is the single worst film of 2015. And one of the worst films I've ever seen, period. Thank you all for watching. In the comments below, please put your picks for the worst films of the year. Be my guest. For those wondering, the Craven Christmas reviews will be going into January. I know it's after Christmas, but I'm doing the best I can, and I hope you continue to enjoy them. So to everyone, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and here's to a better year for movies. We can only hope.